Hello everyone, my name is Jamie Richard and I'm a technical pre-sales engineer here at PowerSync Pro. I'm super excited to show you our new automated installation script today. This script takes care of installing all of the dependencies and configuration changes required to use PowerSync Pro so you can get your migrations or directory syncs going as soon as possible. The script takes a bare metal or virtual machine Windows Server 2016 or newer, installs all the dependencies and configuration options required to run PowerSync Pro, and gets you ready to go as soon as possible. The script is available in our GitHub, which you can find in the description. You can download the script and check out the KB article, which explains all of the options available with it. You start by downloading the script into a central location that's easy to find. In my situation, I'm using ctemp. And then you set execution policy to allow unsigned scripts to run, and then you run the script. So I'm in ctemp, I'm going to run the script. And the script quickly does some checks to make sure that the system's good to install, we don't have any port conflicts, and everything is ready to go. Now, one of the most exciting features of the new installation script is the ability to use Let's Encrypt to get a trusted certificate so your migration agents will trust the PowerSync Pro server by default. In the past, you've had to get a PFX file signed by a trusted certification authority and then loaded in manually. Now we allow that to be a new certificate to be generated on the fly as long as you meet some basic requirements. We still support using a PFX file through the BYOC option, which is number 2 on this list. And we also have a self-signed option, but we don't recommend using it because having that trust of a trusted certificate is very important for PowerSync Pro migration agent to work correctly. So we're going to choose to use Let's Encrypt in this case. And it lays out some of the requirements. First is that port 80 must be open to the server on the internet. You'll have to adjust your firewall rules and ensure that port 80 is accessible at a public IP. And you're going to need an A record for this server that's publicly available. In this situation, I'm using the domain of migrate2.me, and I'm using a subdomain of psp.migrate2.me. If we look at it, it resolves to this IP address, and if in the browser we check our public IP address, they match. So we've got that A record in place. So all we have to do is enter the domain name that we created and enter an email address for verification for renewal notices for the Let's Encrypt certificate. So we're going to use my email address. And the script's going to go out and it's going to make sure that the A record exists, make sure that the system has that IP, and that port 80 is accessible. So in this situation, we're good to go. Everything is ready. We're going to start the script up by choosing yes, and we're going to begin installing our dependencies. These dependencies include .NET Hosting Bundle, Visual C++ redistributables, IIS, SQL Express, and a few other things that are needed to have a PowerSync Pro installation go smoothly. So we've already begun installing SQL Express, and I'm going to let this run, and we're going to see how long it takes, and we're going to check back in when we're closer to the end. Okay, so now that we're coming up to the end of the installation process, we're going out to get the certificate from Let's Encrypt. And we're requesting it now. And we have the certificate. We're installing it into PowerSync Pro and IIS, and the process is done. So if we look at the message provided by the script, it tells us we can now access our PowerSync Pro instance here, and this is the default admin password. So let's pop open a web browser and test that out. And we've got a PowerSync Pro login page. So we can log in with the default credentials, which I highly recommend you change. It's up in the top left, or top right, under the username. You can update the password here. But we've also set up a reverse proxy. And what the reverse proxy lets us do is expose the server to the internet. and allow migration agents out on the internet to get to the agent endpoint, but not access the admin panel. So let me give you an example of that. This is a browser running on my local system here. And if I do psp.migrate2.me, I get a 403 forbidden. This is actually expected behavior. This is on my workstation here at the office. And if I do /agent, which is where agents connect, we get the migration endpoint information. So we know that we can talk to that from the public internet. So the question then becomes, how do we edit which IPs can access the server? So if you've got someone in the field and you want to be able to get to the admin page on the PowerSync Pro server, how do you whitelist that? So it's pretty easy. All you have to do is come to the server, and in the C scripts folder, there's a script called Web Config Editor. If we run Web Config Editor, we'll see that the only allowed IPs right now are localhost. So the admin page can only be accessed from the server itself. So if we want to add a address, you just use the add allowed addresses flag and you give it the IP you want to add. So in this situation, I'm adding my IP here at the office, and it reports that it successfully added that IP. So now if we go back over to the browser and we refresh, you now get the PowerSync Pro login page. If you want to remove, you come over and you run the same command, but you just remove allowed addresses. And if we check that again, we'll see that I go back to getting the 403 forbidden. So that's how you set up a PowerSync Pro server in under 20 minutes. My name is Jamie Richard. I'm a technical pre-sales advisor here at PowerSync Pro. We look forward to helping you migrate your workstations and sync your directories. If you have any questions, please reach out to support. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day.